What's up, guys? I'm Taylor with my co-host Hannah here at FOHSE, and we're here with owner of CandleBudz, Stoney Robbins, and his friend Nikki. We're going to be smelling some candles, going through the origins of what CandleBudz is and how it got started. And Stoney, would you tell me what brought you to this awesome idea of CandleBudz?
You know, it's kind of funny because it actually relates back to your owner, who's a motocross guy. And I think his name's Brett, right?
Mr. Brett Stevens.
Right. So it's funny because it actually relates, and if you kind of follow the history of this, it goes back to the motocross days. That led me into working for Tech Deck, the finger skateboards.
Yeah, I remember Tech
And so
Deck.
I learned quite a bit about licensing at that stage, and then I started doing the Metal Militia. I did a lot of licenses.
Some freestyle?
For the dirt bikes and the parks, and we had fun doing all that. And that really taught me a lot about licensing. That being said, I never thought 25 years later that I would use that train of thought or that methodology or that model for a candle line, right? But I love Shark Tank, and so I'm watching Shark Tank one night, and Kevin O'Leary says, he was going to buy this candle company, and he couldn't find himself to buy it because it was just so ridiculous. It was a candle, it was a fart candle. It smelled like a fart. And he said, but I really want to do it because my three most successful investments in the history of Shark Tank are my candle companies. It's the reoccurring revenue, and people just burn their investment. And I was like, God, I've always wanted that I've always wanted that toilet paper product, that thing that's just always used, right? I've always wanted something like that. So it clicked, it resonated with me. Well, wheels started turning, blah, blah, blah. One thing led to another. This is the kind of the byproduct of another candle company we had originally started in the action sports world, and it was a very cool product. And we were able to secure a patent on a 4-color process on a curved wax surface. So we do some really fun, unique candles in other spaces: action sports, automotive, pro sports, and some other arenas. But this, during COVID hit and retail died, and I didn't know enough about direct to consumer. And we were playing with terpenes at the time. I was working with Sherbinski, with Mario, and I was helping him with some fragrances and getting some stuff going. And I had the terpenes at my house, so I started playing with them, and I was like, God, I wonder what they would do in candles, right? So we played with that. We discovered it smelled amazing. I started playing around with that. I took the licensing train of thought, applied that to a candle, created the same thinking with the shrinking of a skateboard, making it fun, small, cool, collectible, playable, etc. Shrink the candle down, made it fun, cool, playable, colorful, etc. Created a new home for candles in doing so, because now our candles live next to a cash register when 90% of the candles in the space today live in a home furnishing end of the store.
Right. Not only that, but you're bringing this aromatherapy that we capture within THC, within growing it around the world. Like,
great segue. That was awesome.
Now people can take a candle bud, they can smell it, and they know exactly what that. So
as you're saying that, I was getting ready because you had asked me a question earlier. I didn't mean to point you. That being said, so how do the fragrances come about, right? Where does this come from? How does that happen? Well, we really kind of just go by what's out there today. What are the what's everyone smoking, right? I mean, the one thing always, it's like the middle finger's known around the world. The gas is known around the world, right?
Yes,
it's just, you've got that gas, man. It's just, I don't care who we are, where in the world, that's that.
People know cookies, people know backwoods, runts.
Right.
But they don't, do they know the strain? I don't know.
Well, so that being said, hold on real quick. So we realized those gassy strains were the high profile ones that the kids liked, right? So we targeted those, and then we started kind of following the more floral ones, the gelatos, the acai berries, and the lemon cakes, and the London pound cakes, and the this and that's, and the blah blah blah. And that was fun. But those are all existing fragrances that you could easily tweak and modify, and they already live in the portfolio of fragrances that are out there today, right? So the big task was exactly like you said, taking those really strong fragrances, reverse engineering those fragrances, and figuring out how we were going to turn those fragrances into something that would work in a candle. That being said, my buddy Nikki over here is smoking some really good fragrances right now. I think that's, he's one of our fragrant experts because he represents Heavy Melta. That's a brand that is like the Melta stuff, all the solventless is like the heady dudes of the world of smoking today, right? So those dudes are the guys that determine the terps of tomorrow, straight up. So you kind of got to be in with the guys like the Heavy Melta guys if you're really going to be at the level of understanding terps and fragrances and really that whole flow, right? So that's kind of why he's a really amazing social media guy. So that I just kind of segued that into kind of plugging him too in his Heavy Melta brand.
And you're a consultant, correct?
He's a consultant, social media guy. He's badass. I mean, that's why Nikki's here with us, is just because he managed Jake Paul, Logan Paul for a while, and did some really big events and drove millions of eyeballs. And so and he understands that. And what we're really doing with this candles is I want to be like the tap out of what Tap Out was to UFC. We want to come in and be a disruptive force, you know what I mean? And just be something different in the space that hasn't been there before. So that's kind of what it is, and that's where someone like him brings a lot of value because he can help, he did a thing out here called the Graffiti Mansion. I don't know if you guys...
Yes, definitely. We've seen a lot of that.
So those are the kind of deals we're tapping into, right? And then now as we're moving into doing stuff with the cartoons, the Estevans, the Shepard Fairies, and Risk and legendary graffiti artists, that's, I think, going to be a really fun new space for us to kind of evolve in, is the art world. You know what I mean?
Because the packaging is everything, especially when it comes to the marketing of the product. If you take some of his artwork here, like this lemon tree, like that.
So that's a pretty cool. So you guys, you might recognize that art because that's Jimbo Phillips, who created the Santa Cruz logo, the hand, all the slime balls. He created the Independent logo, the Thrasher logo.
You're taking straight artists and you're applying it to your packaging, which is very, very smart. Industry.
Yeah, it truly makes it something different.
Coming from the research standpoint, though, what can you say about bringing, new profiles to isolate and bring into candles? You've already created one, the Heavy Melt.
Well, they have a lot of profiles under Heavy Melta, actually. It's not just one. He has like probably 15, and they're all fun stuff named after famous rock and roll songs. Like, I mean, look at the back of his jacket.
I saw
just
that,
take a look at
Metallica.
But that was the Injustice for All, and it's all and Melta for All, and the scales are all melted. The chick's smoking. It's like, that's so dope.
Insanely cool.
I love that artwork.
Next to weed dropping from the scale.
Always have to incorporate it. Wow, yeah.
So packaging, branding.
Just fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
It's the same type of skateboarding mentality that he's playing with that we're doing with this. You know what I mean? It's just kind of knocking stuff off, having fun with it.
Yeah.
And,
And that creative world, truly. I mean, bringing together artists and also people from the cannabis world, but also just the general public. I mean, with 100% soy candle as well, you're getting a lot of different niche markets into one, and it truly is a collectible item.
So how'd you come about this process of, isolating the terpenes and bringing it with this soy-based candle?
So it's interesting, you guys, and we're going to kind of give our secrets away. But here's the real deal, all right? And just to avoid somebody having the problem, we started using plant-based terpenes. We quickly learned, and I don't know anything about candles, right? Other than what Kevin O'Leary said that night on TV, that people burn them and they go quick, right? So I was like, candles, I don't know. So the way I kind of make this analogy is we jumped in, we built a 747, we were in the air when we realized we needed wings, right? And it was like, we started building wings once we were in the air, and it was like, we were learning stuff as we were going, and it was kind of scary because it was like, you normally would never do that, right? You don't launch a product during research and development, right? So anyway, long and short was we learned that, they do have a life. If you put living terpenes in there, those living terpenes actually eat the wax. So you'll open it up and it'll be a pile of dust.
Interesting.
Okay, so it'll eat so we were like, holy crap, that's not gonna work. So then we had to take those terpenes and we had to reverse engineer those with major fragrance houses, right? And make those all natural, synthetic natural derivatives or versions of a lot of the fragrances that we were trying to mimic.
Right.
So that they actually burn, and they have what's called, we learned a new thing, the bloom, right? The bloom is how much your candle fills up a room. So they have testing rooms at the fragrance houses that are 4x4, 8x8, 12x12 with sensors in the rooms. And they'll put a candle in the center of that room. And within an hour, they do a reading. 2 hours, they do a reading. 3 hours, they do a reading. And you can determine the bloom of a candle according to the amount of wax, the amount of terpene, So it's interesting. So they've learned that around 3 to 4% is the right amount per candle and this and that. And so anyway, so that was a fun learning process, right? There were times that I put so much terpenes in the stuff because I just wanted it to smell so strong. I remember we called them fire pond. We would light them and the whole thing was like a Bunsen burner. All the wax caught on fire, not the freaking wick. I'm like, dude, look, it's like fire pond. I'm like, we can't sell these to people. There's like a little freaking Molotov cocktail.
You know,
like,
big danger label on the side of there.
I was like, oh my God, like pull those ones back. You know what it was like? But it was just fun learning all that stuff along the way. Anyway. I probably shouldn't be sharing.
And in your research and development phase, you were able to find over 400 different profiles of terpenes. Is that correct?
No. So what we did discover, though, was we were working with the leading guys in the space for the most part. Like you guys are in the lighting world. This company, Abstracts, is really, pretty much probably the leader in determining in their micro analytics in terms of the micro. What the hell is this? Microspectrums, where they can really dig in there. So in the world of, real quick stuff, in the world of elements and the periodic chart, I think we have 113 elements or 112, 113, something like whatever it is. Whatever, it's right there, right? So, but the point is out of those 113, you have every element known to mankind, right? So in the world of terpenes, there's 150 terpenes known to mankind, okay? So from a dog fart to a rose petal to a rug, to anything that has a smell, anything on the planet that has a smell, there's only 150 terpenes on planet Earth that make every smell we know to mankind. That's a trip, right? You're
wow,
like,
yeah.
But then if you go that there's only 4 colors and that makes every color we know to mankind, then you're like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? 4 primaries, okay, if there was 150 primary fragrances, fuck, you could make trillions of fragrances. I get that, right? Well, as we started understanding that, we learned that one of the common fragrance in almost everything from a tire to a dog fart, has limonene in it. Yeah. You're like, what the fuck is limonene? Like, I was like, wow. So like if the world was a big bakery, that's the flour. You know what I mean? I guess like limonene is the flour because it's in everything. You know what I mean? I was like, what a trip. Like lemon, it's in everything. And I didn't know that. That was interesting.
Scent.
So we learned that. So that was kind of fun. So in understanding and so I've learned a lot. So I started playing around on what printer at Best Buy. And it's these new little ink filled, you can fill the liquid. So I put terpene fragrances in my stuff. So I would print out a bud that smelled like that, and I'd put that fragrance in, and I could print it out, and the bud smelled like the picture. So I was like, bro, we could start printing out, scratch and sniff and doing like little fun little things where our boxes smell like like all kinds of little things where I'm gonna start adding fragrances to printing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because that's where we're gonna take it next, I think, is start really playing around with that. But
well, it's creating the whole experience also. Not only are you seeing it, you're touching it, you also get to smell it.
Yeah.
And I already registered Terp Jets so I could sell it to inkjet companies. I want to sell the bottles of Terp Jets.
So it's already taken.
So I bought Terp Jets. I bought a couple of them. So I already got those. So go ahead and get my shit. I already know how these people work. But anyway, so that's one of my big ones I wanted to sell to IBM. I wanted to take my Terp Jets and go sell that one to the next big deal. But anyway, this is our fun little project. We're having a blast with it. It's a fun thing. I love the fact that candles, nobody has a candle deal. I always tell people, I'm like, you could take me into any event anywhere. Take me to the nerdiest tech con in the world. Take me to the gamers. Take me to Comic-Con. Take me to the auto show. Pick a spot, and I'll go get a candle deal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'll walk in there and take me to a dinner, and the Kardashians are over across the Nobu. I'll walk over and get a candle deal.
And these partnerships that you've been able to fortify, like Cookies and Runts, and these are big names going on your candles. Well,
so Cookies we don't have yet.
Okay.
In the works.
But we love those guys. So, yes. But I'll break it down how that one.
Yeah. We saw that one in Raw coming also.
This doesn't say Cookies, by the way. It has the Cookies C, and it's not really Cookies C. That's a CandleBudz C. And it's got the little melty on the not the bite. It's
with
got
that
the melt.
Color profile,
so we had to. So I just brought skateboarding into it. I'm like, look, if you're not going to give us a license, I'm going to do it no matter what and just make it ours. And then we're not paying any royalties. So would I rather pay a royalty and hook up Burner? Yeah, I would love to support those guys. I think they're awesome. One of their good homies is one of my good friends, Lucky. He's he's been supportive, very supportive of us, and a huge help. And he's pretty much running Cookies right now. Him and Burner are real tight. So Lucky's going to be one of those dudes that I think helps us bridge that gap, and we'll get that Cookies license here in a minute.
Yes, definitely. That would be awesome.
Shout out to Burner and
What
Lucky.
can we do to
we love
make
you
this
guys.
happen?
No, that's awesome. But do you guys do any private label? Say we
Tons of private label.
wanted to do a FOHSE
100%. We would do one for you guys. We will do one for you guys just because that's kind of the fun stuff we're doing right now. We're doing a calendar. Matter of fact, we'll give you guys a month. So that's one of the things that I want to do kind of as a cool thing to the industry is we're going to do this really cool calendar, beautiful girls, and every month we'll give to one of the, so Cake will get a month, Runts will get a month, Lemon Tree will get a month, maybe Cannabis 101 will get a month, FOHSE will get a month, people that have been our friends that have hooked us up and helped us out along the way, Heavy Melter will get a month, people like that. So we'll have 12 months in there and we'll give as much as we can, and we'll give, and then people, and I'll even, Big Mike from Advanced Nutrients, I love Mike, so I'm gonna throw one in there for him, and whatever, and just, it's our kind of our olive branch to the industry, you know what I mean? And hopefully people aren't offended by it. They're like, they're beautiful girls, so hopefully they're like, dude, thank you, man. September's gorgeous. Thank you for hooking us up.
I'm sure we'll be able to do something cool as far as picking our terpene profile, and making it into an awesome marketable candle with you guys.
Yeah, man, you're gonna have Heavy Melt to help you pick that profile.
Definitely. I know Ben and Brett have some favorites, so we can highlight some of those terpenes and create something awesome.
R&D.
Can you get a close up on his face just so you can see how good that
R&D Seed Junkie weed is definitely
Seed Junkie is working on my boy over here.
That's
Might be doing a Heavy
Junkie.
Melty Seed Junkie collab here in a minute.
I think collab
Definitely
sounds
needed.
great.
Awesome. What is next for CandleBudz? Can you give us a little insight into it?
Oh yeah, 100%. So here's where we're at right now. It's having people like him working with him, doing a big social media push, and really getting heavy on the social media. And because we just spent $500,000 and bought equipment so that we can do 20,000 candles a day now.
Oh wow.
So that's been the big deal. Like we're handmade. Right. So there's times when it becomes very frustrating because we're not reaching the minimums that we need to be reaching. I'm losing money sometimes.
Yeah,
basically.
it's very labor intensive.
You know what
truly.
I mean? It is, and it's a lot of work, and if people aren't really being productive, so it's kind of like it's nice when the production line is there, because if you're not paying attention, it's like burgers are burning. You know what I mean? So you got to be on it. Right. There's no just work at your leisure.
I'm sure it's a very delicate process to get these to exactly where you need them to be for quality assurance.
Well, yeah, for sure. But now I don't have to deal with all that crap. Everything's done. It's like, Jesus, it's done.
In-house makes it easier, more consistent. You can control every aspect of it as well.
Right. And then now we're going to wind up doing a ton of white leaves. So we'll do zigzag deals. And that was one of the reasons when we were working with Zigzag out of Canada, and they wanted to know if we could get 50,000 pieces to them by Christmas. And I couldn't get the numbers to them. And the guy made a comment to me. He said, well, if you can't do that, how in the hell would you ever do 100,000 pieces for our domestic market? And I was just like, holy crap, like 150,000 pieces a month, like how could we ever do? And then it started making sense that, hold on. And as we talked to more distributors and more people that wanted pallets, and it was like, then we started meeting with international buyers, and it was like, okay, this makes sense. You know what I mean? And if we're going to do this really the right way, we should almost have another factory on the East Coast, because we have a ton of business on the East Coast. So the candles, you start shipping pallets, it gets expensive. We got one guy that's talking about 87,000 pieces a month out of New York, and our shipping alone on that is almost 13 grand. You know what I mean? So add that up over a year, there's $130,000 we spent on excuse my language. We should just have a damn production line on the East Coast. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's an investment that will definitely pay off in the long run.
I think for the future, we're going to see a FOHSE x CandleBudz collab. And it's going to...
Sweetie, that's not even a question. That's a done deal. Like,
we might just want to do like a whole line, though. Like a Ben candle, a Brat candle, all of our family.
I just want it to smell like exhaust. Yeah. Dirt bike exhaust.
Yes. Some dirt bike exhaust and limonene for sure. Maybe some caryophyllene.
Right. But that's...
that's that, and it's a little FOHSE light that we give out, and it's our light produces fragrance. Our light produces the best, like we tie that into your growing. But it's a great little BOGO for companies like you. Yeah. You know what I mean? You spend $1,000, you spend $100, you spend $1,000. We're giving you 20 of these to give your employee. You spend $100. You know, just little things like that. They're just fun. And the thing I always tell people is, candles are those kind of items that, you know, hats, shirts, things get hung in the closet, put away. You know, candles go on mantles. They go in bathrooms. They go on, you know, on your freaking above your fireplace, on your coffee table. They go in the middle of your little smoking area. They go. Candles get amazing exposure.
Yeah, so, especially when they smell like this bomb-ass drink.
Yes. Indeed.
So that's it. So that's, you know, in a nutshell, you know, tell us about Heavy Melta.
Yeah, Heavy Melta is a badass pre-roll line, and we're going to be doing Delta 8 and HHC cartridges in gas stations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like a heavy metal, heavy, you know, Melta, anything that melts. We're going to have chocolates, the oil's burning, the vapes is burning.
So you need a tester.
We do need a tester.
Well, let us know.
Volunteers tribute.
Yes.
All right, done deal.
I think that's so important too, product placement. Like you said, putting things specifically where they're going to grab them, especially with Heavy Melt, all the items that people are, you know, generally going to see and grab.
So he's not even telling you guys all the cool shit. So part of it is, look, you know, I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag because they're moving quick on it. But their packaging looks like a little fucking rock and roll stage. Their carts come in guitar cases, like Fender cases. All their stuff comes in little amps, and it's all set up like a whole concert. It looks like a little punk rock concert, but it's all the different stuff.
Oh, I love that. It's awesome.
It's so badass. It's like, it's because right now in the whole industry, all there is hip hop.
Right.
There's nothing out there that represents heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just cool that when you lock at their little packaging, it's like, dude, that's badass.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, expanding the industry.
You're welcome over there.
Thank you very much. You guys have been awesome. Super excited for the future between FOHSE and CandleBudz. And of course, with your line coming out, about to drop, can't wait to try some of that. We'll hold you to that. We got to get off to Champs. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm Taylor, Hannah, this is Stoney, and Nikki. And thanks for joining us. Have a good one.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for coming. Looking forward to
Stay lit.
everything. Yeah.